mostly will use a single clock to generate multiple. That's all they'll use, a PLL kind of thing. So they'll generate a multiple clock signal using a PLL. They'll use this as a different number of clocks. Okay? So for your both input and output, your major clock will be a single. Okay? A master clock is a single unit. Using this master clock, we have to process our system with different frequencies. So this different frequencies has to be generated from the master clock alone. Okay? So who will going to give the input? So what is the input we predicted? What will be the output also we predicted? But who will going to give the input? So for our case, the camera is going to give the input. So it's not the user. So the camera, whatever is there, whenever we switch on the camera will read the input. It will generate the input. So whenever a camera sensor, image sensor is switched on, okay, so based on the scenarios or based on the scene, it will read the color information. So based on the color information, it has to encode, it will generate the input for the processing system. So once the input is generated by the system, it's not given by the user, we have to give an algorithm or we have to define our architecture based on the system, because we don't know when the input will come, okay, when we have to start processing. All these things we don't know, but the system knows. So from the system, we need some of the data where the input starts. So as we discussed before, I said the horizontal pulse, H sync and V sync is the reference place where it can able to start the pixels. Okay, so this horizontal and vertical sync will be used for the control lines. Okay, control line for the input device, also the output device. So in middle, if I want to process, I can't process the dummy pixels where present in the vertical blanking or head sync pulses. I have to process only this active area. The system will give only the active area pulse. So the device which you are going to use or which you are going to produce the input, whether it is producing active area pulse alone or along with the horizontal and vertical pulse. Because if some of the cameras are there, they'll say it has a direct VGA standard. It can able to store it as a VGA. It can able to store it as a TS. It can able to store it as a AVA. So they'll use that own standard in the camera itself. So whenever a data out is there, the data out has, along with active area, the horizontal and vertical pulses also. But the camera OV7670 doesn't have this horizontal and vertical pulses. It has only the active area pulses. So continuously you will get the active area pixels. So the remaining pixels we have to generate it. So we have only 480 x 640 clock for the input, but 800 x 521 clock for the output. Okay. So to understand this input devices, so we need to understand who is going to give the input, the OV7670. So the OV7670, the input output voltages and temperature range is much important. Why? In the sense, this sensor I am going to interface with my hardware. My hardware may have different power requirement. My sensor, if it has different power requirement, definitely I need isolator or a bridge IC to connect these things. Something like my platform, FPGA or the Arduino or whichever Raspberry Pi, if you are using, which is working in the 3.3 or 5 volt, and the camera sensor which you are using is operating in different volt, which is not in 3.3 or which is not in 5 volt, need a separate power source. So if it is higher power, this power will reflect back in your board, which will damage your board. Okay? Or if it has a lower power, the higher power from the board will damage your sensor. So I will need an isolator to differentiate these things. But the camera module, what we have, they have a same power range, which have a 3.3 volt range analog and DC voltage of 1.8, which is suited for the FPGA of the Z board and basis both. So the IO also has 1.7 to 3 volt only, so it will be suited. So based on the power requirement, I didn't have any drawback between my hardware or the sensor. Then temperature. This is based on where we are going to use. Minus 30 to 70 degree it can. So sometimes it will be very chill. We can't able to capture the image. Some of the cameras or some of the things, when you go and take with that means very hot areas, something high flammable areas, sometimes when you switch on your camera, the scenes will not be proper. The major reason, maybe the image sensor, it can't able to sustain with that temperature range. So what is the temperature range it can able to operate? That will also define your quality. Even though if it is a 100 megapixel camera, your temperature range will define your quality. So the output, it can able to produce both YUV and RGB with 16-bit per pixel. Okay. So the pixel size, one small pixel size is 3.6 micrometer into 3.6 micrometer. So this 3.6 micrometer square centimeter is a single color area information. So whenever I capture a image or video from using this camera, the pixel size is 3.6 centimeter square. So the image area means inside the camera. So inside the camera, how much size it going to capture. Sometimes you may heard about it, larger lens will give you a better quality for the same pixel. Smaller lens will give somewhat less quality for the same pixel rate. So what is the lens size or what is the image capturing area inside the sensor will define your next quality. So this is the image area inside the camera. It has 24 pin. So yeah, it has 24 pin GPIO. Some of the pins will be shorted with the resistor and capacitors inside the module itself. Other than that, the remaining ports will be given here. What are the ports? We have 8 data lines, D0 to D7, which will give you your RGB or YUV pixel values. Okay. So other than that, we have the serial interface clock and serial interface data. These are the control lines. If this serial interface clock and serial interface data is controlling your camera, not for the output device. So when my camera has to start, when my camera has to start transferring the data to the output port, when it has to capture, when the data has to be stored, all these things will be given with the remaining data ports or GPIOs. We can able to see here VREF, VSync and HSync also will be there. Otherwise HREF will be there. Okay, HREF is there. So these two signals, VREF and HREF, will be used for the camera module, and VSync will be used for your output device. So this VSync along with your video, VSync also will be generated with your camera module. So if this VSync is not generated, definitely we don't know where our starting pixel is there. So this should be generated from the camera module. But this VSync will be proper only when your serial data, power down, VREF and HREF, these signals are proper. If these signals are not proper, whatever the VSync is producing from the camera, it will not be proper. So it means we will not get the proper data at the input line itself. So the data, whatever it's giving, will not be proper. So if the SIOD, that means serial data and the VREF, HREF is not proper, after you interface, after you program, if you display the, that means if you display the output, you will not get the video or the image. Instead of that, we will get some dots or noise kind of thing or some sinusoidal waves kind of thing. So something like that, interrupted data will get. Okay? So this is because the SIOD, SIOC, that means the serial and the VREF, HREF registers are not properly configured. So inside your program, you need to properly configure all these things. So to configure all these things, definitely we need the information, how we can configure what the value we have to give. So whenever you took the camera module or whenever you took any sensor module, the sensor module has its own data sheet. So inside the data sheet, they'll say what should be the minimum and maximum value and where it has to start, where it has to end, and what is the relation between the signals. All these things will be available inside your data sheet. So based on the data sheet, you need to write a program to generate all these values and proper signals. So it has a power down mode and reset. Your reset will clear all the registers. Sometimes maybe your program will be correct, and the configuration will be correct. But whenever I power on, the initial registers may not read properly. So during that time, if I reset the registers to the initial condition, initial state, it will work properly. I don't need to redump the code or something. So I need a reset pin. So it has a reset pin, so we can able to do the soft reset. It doesn't, it's not a hard reset. It's a soft reset. So through program, we can able to reset it. Similarly, we have a power down mode. So PWDM, power down mode. So power down mode means sometimes we'll operate our hardware with the battery. So during that time, we'll not get the proper 3 volt or proper 5 volt, which has a very little less than 3, but with the optimal range. So during that time also, your sensor has to work. Otherwise, you will not get the proper data. So power down mode in the sense, whenever you have a less power devices for the as a source. So during that time, you can able to use it as a power down mode. So these are the different signals which we are going to, which is generated from the image sensor. So if this proper signals are generated, then your pixels will be proper. If these proper signals are not generated, your pixels will not be proper. It means whatever the outlines we are getting from the D0 to D8, it's not the pixels, it's something else. Okay. So for that, the SIOC or SIOD signal, what is the relation? What is the different timing? So here they mention only the variables. The data sheet has the values for this variable. What is the minimum and maximum range? Okay. I'll show you the data sheet. So once the SIOC